So for a man who throws himself into lethal fights, Thor really doesn't die anywhere near as much as you'd expect. But all of these close calls only make Thor's actual deaths in comics all the more precious a resource. So let's take a look at them. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 7 comic characters who have killed Thor. Number 7. The Fantastic Four. With every good Marvel character, there's naturally a dramatic zombie-based death. It almost appears to be one of the unwritten rules of the House of Ideas. For Thor, this death takes place in the Marvel Zombies' dead days and sees the alive Thor foolishly take on the very undead Fantastic Four, which naturally ends up getting him bitten, killed, and reanimated into the monstrosity we see in the Marvel Zombies arc. It's all of the grisly joy that makes the zombie spin-off so good, and having a hugely powerful character like Thor die at the very beginning of it all only enhances both the excitement and the threat of the invading undead forces. It's by no means the most breathtaking superhero death ever, but there are few occasions where you get to see a Norse god chewed on by a family of scientists, so yeah, it's well worth a read. Number 6. Mikhail Rasputin. Thor's death in the X-Men Age of Apocalypse storyline may be the single most overlooked example of the hero dying in comic history. It's practically a footnote in the overall story, which kind of makes sense given that it's a story focusing on the X-Men themselves, but still feels a bit unfair given that Thor is a major character in the Marvel Universe. Admittedly, this may be because of Thor's status in this particular dimension. As within the Age of Apocalypse storyline, Thor hasn't found Mjolnir, and so believes himself to be just a regular human, totally unaware that he could have had some sweet thunder god powers. This means that when he finally gets into a fight with Colossus's equally intimidating brother Mikhail Rasputin, there's very little chance for him to escape it alive, especially when Thor decides to end the fight by launching him and Mikhail out of the top of Big Ben, where the pair fall to their deaths. Number 5. The Beyonders. New Avengers number 32 marks both the death of Thor and the rise of the saddest buddy cop moment ever, as both the God of Thunder and Hyperion make one last stand against an almost endless horde of homicidal aliens known as the Beyonders. It's clear from the offset that there's no chance of this pair winning, as only Starbrand manages to take out one of the powerful creatures, and even then, only a single Beyonder. With just one proving to be a potent threat, the surge of Beyonders approaching the pair feels catastrophic, and makes both appear all the braver for stoically facing them, despite there being no possible way that either would leave alive. Not only does this effectively work to raise the stakes of the huge storyline, but it also works as perhaps the most in-character death imaginable for Thor, bravely facing off against an unwinnable battle alongside a trusted companion, racing each other towards Valhalla. Number 4. Thor. In every superhero's time, there comes a moment when they realize that they have to sacrifice themselves for the good of something greater. For Thor, this comes in the form of Thor Dissembled, which placed the God of Thunder in a position where he discovers that the only way to prevent the destruction of the universe is to bring about the cycle of Ragnarok, which requires him to destroy Yggdrasil, ending his own life. While it's ambiguous if Thor totally ceases to exist, as he states that he will be in the sleep of the gods waiting to be reborn, his mortal form definitely does die at the end of the 1998-2004 run, as in the 3rd volume of the Thor comic, he's brought back to life from the void by the summons of Donald Blake, who is able to do so due to him being the mortal host of the lightning god for a period of time. This means in the canon Marvel universe, Thor was essentially dead for 3 whole years, which creates all sorts of interesting dynamics between him and the other Avengers, not to mention a hilariously awkward storyline where he confronts Tony Stark for creating a clone of him while he was gone. Yeah, that was pretty awkward. Number 3. Mangog. It's a dying shame that fans who didn't like Jane Foster are unlikely to have followed her arc as Thor to the end of her run, as even if you didn't like her, you'd still be blown away by just how spectacularly she goes out in Mighty Thor number 705. After a brutal fight against the fearsome god killer Mangog, Foster throws the beast into the sun, which turns out not to be enough to kill him, as in order to go down for good, Mangog needed to be unable to escape the fatal flames. Aware of this, Jane binds him with the chains made to hold Fenrir and uses Mjolnir one final time to fly Mangog, chains and all, deep into the sun. Both Mjolnir and Jane are lost as a result of this action, with the hammer melted inside the sun, and Jane finally succumbing to her fatal illness as she reverts back to her human form. Number 2. Rogue. What if number 66 saw a particularly unusual event, even by the comic's usual speculatory standards? In it, Rogue uses her power to absorb Thor's abilities, taking his lightning powers, his super strength, and crucially, his ability to wield Mjolnir, which naturally means that Rogue then gains the title of being Thor, as the superhero alias belongs to whoever holds the hammer. While Rogue doesn't technically kill Thor, she does absorb him into her psyche, only for him to seemingly remove himself from existence when he claims that she is now the true Thor. Even if she hadn't accidentally removed him from existence, Rogue still completely takes over his life, with Odin claiming that he has lost a son and gained a daughter. It's a cool story and a rather novel idea, but one that makes you feel more than a little sorry for the actual Thor. It takes his dad a couple of pages before he totally forgets his son is now dead, and something about that just makes you feel bad, even if Odin wasn't exactly winning any awards for being a good father in the first place. And number 1, the Serpent. In a fight that had been predestined since the dawn of time, and in the actual Norse mythology that Thor is based off, the Fear Itself series saw the god of thunder fight Jormungandr, known as the World Serpent or the Serpent to friends. With so much of Thor's lore in and out of Marvel being built around the fact that he will die if he fights the Serpent, the tension when the two of them appear in the same battle is pretty palpable, with the beginning of their clash being almost as exhilarating as the moment that Thor strikes down the beast, causing his own death. Even better, this moment comes as a total surprise, as several previous storylines, such as Odin trying to fool the world into believing that Ragnarok has happened, or making other Thors so that they could instead die fighting the Serpent, suggested that the climactic battle may never happen in the comic universe, which makes it actually occurring all the more epic. And there we go, my friends, those were 7 comic characters who have killed Thor. I hope you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Twitter at RetroJ with a 0, or you can swing by Live and Let's Dice, where I do all of my streaming outside of work, and it'd be great to see you over there. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.
Next up, we are straight back to Shadow Picard for another scene in which it's incredibly important to me that nothing bad ever happens to Lara's
YouTube. The unexpected frontier. These are the videos of whatculture.com. Its continuing mission to list strange new facts, seek out news and offbeat discoveries, to boldly go where no What Culture channel has gone before.
Hey, how would you guys like to start a Star Trek channel?
Hell yeah!
No, sorry, how's he got a uniform? I've been asking for one for months now, and I'm
Spidey money, I'd be sipping jippers on the beach somewhere.
Hell yeah!
Is he even cold?
Hell yeah!
If I had any money, I'd be sipping jippers on the beach
Months I've been
somewhere.
asking for one.
Hell yeah!
Months.
If I had
Not
any money,
even-
I'd be
I'm
sipping
not
jippers
trying
on the
to
beach
be-
somewhere.
Hell
If I
yeah!
had any money, I'd be sipping jippers on the beach somewhere.
Hell yeah!
If I had any money, I'd be sipping jippers on the beach somewhere.
Hell yeah!
If I had any money, I'd be sipping...
Hi, I'm Marcus Bronzy, new presenter for Trek Culture, What Culture's new home for all things Star Trek related. Now, we've already got a bunch of great content like Adam Cleary's ups and downs for every new episode of Picard, and we'll of course have all of the lists and rankings that you know and love us for. Fancy yourself a Trekkie and want to contribute? Well, What Culture is hiring video editors and writers, so if you want to get involved, fire over a CV and cover letter to trekculture@whatculture.com. And while you're at it, don't forget to slap subscribe and give us a follow on Twitter. It would be a great dishonour if you didn't. I've been Captain Marcus Bronzy. Until next time, Kapla!